if you cannot, let's see those reactions, all the emojis and all the stickers and everything. Let's welcome our guest, our speaker for tonight, Miss Shekinah Nuhu. A round of applause. Yay. All right. I love the energy. I love the energy. So, Ma, we are ready to have you. You have the floor.
All right. Hi, everyone. Oh, this mom is making me feel very old. I am but a young girl. So just Shekina is fine. I'm going to put on my video. However, there's no unfortunately, I am very much in Nigeria, and you know how electricity is and can get. So I do not have electricity right now in my house. So I'm trying to figure out like a way to make it bright enough for my but let me see. Can everyone see me? Hi. Okay. All right.
Yes, but we can see you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just do like a little bit of an introduction before we begin. My name is Shekina. I am contrary to like popular opinion, because like there's that controversy, oh, is it Shekina, is it Shekina? I'll tell you a little story. So like I didn't know my name was Shekina until like grade 2, that's primary 2, because somehow it just never came up in conversation with my mom and I. So I've popularly gone by my tribal name, which is Tinde Narima. I'm from Taraba State. So got into grade 2, my mom was like, oh, you're going to a new school, like just so you know, your name is Shekina, just in case, you know, this baby what to use there. And I was like, okay, it sounds like a fancy name. I'll take it. So I've been Shekina since like grade 2. So going into like secondary school, I had a teacher who coincidentally had a daughter whose name was also Shekina. He was like, girl, that's not your name. Your name is Shekinah. And I was like, what do you mean Shekinah? I don't know about that. So I've had this like little bit of an identity crisis ever since, you know, growing up. Oh, is my name actually Shekinah? Is it Shekinah? You know, well, I guess we never know. But yeah, my name is Shekinah, and I am a law student at the University of Ibadan. I'm currently in my 4th year. To God be glory. And I think that I take very big pride in my love for like young people, and just like generally seeing them do right by themselves and do like the best that they can be, and be the best that they can be for themselves. So I have a newsletter that sorry about that. I have a newsletter that I run, that I kind of send like monthly letters, just surrounding things that I'm learning on my on the journey of my 20s, and you know, lessons that I'm learning and habits that I'm dropping, new ones that I'm picking up, and all of that. And it's been great all the while. But more than anything else, I really do enjoy talking about money. I just coming into the knowledge of like money and the importance of having good money habits did a great number on me. It just blew my mind. And so like I talk about it any chance I get. So I think what if I would say why I think Toby, that's Mrs. O, like got me to be on this was because we had like we have a mutual friend, and it was that mutual friend's mother's birthday. And I rather like we're just at the event, we're talking to the mom, just asking her questions about like, because she's so accomplished and gorgeous and lovely. So just asking her questions about life, like, oh, how's your life been? You know, you've lived all these years and you've done this and that and that. And so I remember just like having a notes app, like my notes app, and I had like a bunch of questions that I wanted to ask. And I was asking her like, oh, like, so how have you done like finances? And everyone's like, okay, so why are you asking that? Like, you know, but I have a big passion for, you know, like telling people about money, how they can make it. Well, relatively, but more importantly, how you can manage it, and how like you can build good habits around it. And I hope that I've done a bit of an introduction. We're going to talk, you know, like a little bit, like we're going to interact a little bit. And I just hope that this session is going to be beneficial for all of you. Thank you so much for taking out time to be here. I'm really honored. Please forgive how I look. So we're in the middle of exam season, and if you know anything about law exams, they're not cute. So I do not have time to be cute. But I hope that we have a wonderful session together. All right. So I've tagged today's session "Creating a Better Tomorrow," and I didn't want to just put like a very you know, common, or like just a very obvious heading, just because what I'm going to be talking about today is something that I personally believe that going further into your life, like for the rest of your life, there'll be such valuable lessons that if you hold on to and if you practice, you're definitely setting yourself up for a life of better financial decisions. And because I'm very aware of the fact that the decisions that we make today go a long way in shaping like how we turn out in the future. And that's just the plain truth about life. So that is why I have tagged this creating a better tomorrow. But of course, like the sub heading is productivity and finance tips for your 20s. So Mrs. O had actually asked that I just chip in like some productivity tips, just because like a bunch of us here are probably like still students or are just like finishing school and going into the world. All right, so let's start with the first slide, please. All right, okay, so next slide. Yeah, okay. All right, so I started with talking about like the common things that we say to justify like our spending. And when I was writing this part, I was just laughing because I found myself, I've said everything here, all of them. I've said it at one point or the other. So the first one is like, I'll get the money back. So you come into some money and like, okay, yeah. And so you're like, okay, maybe you get paid, I don't know, for whatever, maybe you get like 50K into your account. 50K seems like a lot of money, especially like if it's no money you're expecting. You're like, okay, 50K, that's nice. If I buy shawarma at 2,000, doesn't really, it's not I still have 8,000, it's not gonna shake here. So you're like, even though I can get the money back, I'll get the money back, I'll get the money back. It will come back, and sometimes it actually does come back, but that's not what we're dwelling on. So the next one is, if I buy this, I won't buy this. So I used to do this thing a lot. So I'll tell myself that, if I buy this, maybe I buy this water bottle, okay, I will not buy maybe some other thing. Like, so I'm sort of doing like a substitution method where I'm like putting one thing in place of the other to justify my reason for spending that money at that particular time. And then the other one is like, it's on sale, so I'm saving money. This is not always entirely a bad thing, but when it's something that you actually don't need, like, for example, if I see that a particular maybe clothing store that I follow on Instagram, something is having a sale, and they are selling maybe jeans. If I show the number of jeans I have, close to 10. If I'm buying jeans there in that moment, I don't need that. I don't need it because, so saying that I'm buying it because it's on sale makes absolutely no sense. Then telling yourself that you need something when you actually really don't. So this obviously requires like a huge level of honesty. So if you really, really think inwardly, do you really need it? Chances are no. But you're just telling yourself that I need it now, just to make yourself feel better about spending it. And the next one is I'm only treating myself. This one is so common among students. Like if you've had like a very long week, you saw lecturers have shown you shege, you have come back on Friday and like, you know what? I deserve it. I deserve the break. And then you're just like, your next thing I think about is how you can, just send some money here and there just so that you can buy one thing or the other, which I promise you, later down the line you will regret it. But let's not get into that yet. Then I can always fall back on my savings. This one I'm so guilty of. Do you know that I do this? I had this bad habit of like, if I know I have like a amount of money in savings, like especially when it's a lot of money, somehow in my mind I count that as money I have. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, but I have like XYZ amount of money in stock. So if I spend this 5,000 naira now, I still have this money in stock. But in reality, if I put that money in savings, is it really disposable money? It's not. So, all right. I have been broke before and I didn't die. If raise your hand, let me hear like this. If you said, if you made that statement before, like, we're here, my people. Thank you. So yeah, you're like, you know what? I have been broke before. You guys, shout out to my roommates for being a props guy. She's setting up all my lights and everything. So yeah, I've been broke before I didn't die. And then money is for spending. Do you know that I've actually like championed this? Like at some point in my life, I was telling people that money is to be spent. And it's not a lie. I promise it's not a lie. But in this context, it's a little finicky. And so I repeated that point twice. So yeah, so that's like, I'm glad to see that like I'm not alone, and at one point or the other, all of us have collectively made one or every of these statements. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Thank you. So I start this session like finding out the problem as to why you probably do not have money now, or why we do not have money. Let me not point fingers, right? And I divided into like two categories, like self-inflicted and then external. I'll start with the external because it's short. So two examples: the economy. For example, if you're in Nigeria right now, you know what I'm talking about. It's really, really, really something else being in Nigeria in 2024. It's tough out here. And then the second one would be emergencies. So like when something very unexpected and grand happens, of course it can rock your finances a little bit, especially if it's something that you didn't plan for at all, or maybe it turned out to be something more than sorry, excuse me, so turned out to be something more than you had anticipated. So that's fine. Then the self-inflicted one is very often the things that we do that cause us to not, that to end up in situations of lack, for lack of a better expression. And the first one is keeping up with the Joneses. So a very like visual example could be maybe you come to a new space, like you move into, like maybe you come to school or something, and you sort of like presented yourself in this very appealing manner, like you're this girl that just seems to have everything put together, and that might not be a lie, but people have sort of like attached that identity to you as like, oh my god, yeah, na Shekinah, money girl now, she has iPhone, and so like you've now adopted this um on unsolicited pressure to like keep up with that appearance. So you will do things to put you at risk just to make sure that people do not find out that, or that idea they have about you is not completely real. So that is one of, and I promise you, it's one of like the leading causes of not having money, where you are trying so hard to to create an image of yourself that is not entirely true. And I promise you that when you're in your 20s, that's the last thing you want to be doing, because these people will go on to live their lives, and like you'll be there because like you've made a decision going off of like somebody who you actually have no business caring about. But we'll get into a deeper dive of that. Second one is living above your means. So the first time I ever heard the statement of living above your means, do you know who told me? My mother told me. My mother said it to me. My mom was like, Shekinah, I think you live above your means. I was like, girl, what do you even mean by that? What does it mean? And I saw one tweet like a few couple of months ago, when someone was like, me, I live above my means, and my means like, let's see, catch up. And I laughed so hard. But this is such a real thing. Living above your means. And for the longest time, I just didn't understand what it meant. Like, what do you mean I'm living above my means? But is typically having a grasp of what is your reality and just not acknowledging it. So if you are if within yourself, you know that expending some certain amounts of money is just very out of your comfort zone, like it's not within your purview, like you just know that it's not realistic to you, but you keep doing it just because like like there's a false sense of, I don't know, of accomplishment that you feel, is a weird, money can be so weird, but it's just like you are here, but this is your standard of, like, this is your lifestyle. It doesn't correlate at all. So a very good example, maybe the money that's in your account can buy you maybe on sliced bread that is like maybe 300, but because like maybe, I don't know if it's all this like aspire speech that always give sometimes, where like they're like, oh, you know what, like you attract the life you want. If if you want to, oh god, some of all these things there, god, everything in moderation anyway. But like when they tell you things like that, you're not feeling like, you're feeling pumps like, yes, you know what, like I don't want to dwell in my penury, my poverty, so I will do what, girl, you know what is realistic to you, you know what you have. Don't do it, third one is not spending on your needs. Now the thing about not spending on your needs, at least not first and upfront, is that your need will always be a need, and if you don't spend on your need, it will come right around, and you have to spend on the need. Like, so in that moment, you've now spent money twice. So for example, if a need I had right now was like maybe let's assume pay my school fees, and like, and just because like I was feeling extra funky, I'm like, I want something nice. I went and bought myself like a new pair of shoes. Maybe there's like around the same price of my school fees. Now I've used the money that I could have used to pay my school fees to buy the shoe, I will still have to bring out that money to pay my school fees, because the school fees is a need, and I won't write an exam if I don't pay my school fees. You get the gist. So now, instead of having to just spend that money once, I spent it twice. Next one is an inability to delay gratification. This one is so real. Like, just everything you want, you just, okay, I feel like eating, I feel like having ice cream. Okay, you buy it. I feel like so on impulse, the second you feel a feeling, you go ahead and buy it, and that can be very detrimental to your finances in the long run, at least. Failing to budget, this one I think is foolproof, no brainer. Your budgeting is simply assigning money to different things, like to different responsibilities, different wants or needs, and yada yada. And this is why, like, I say that money is actually to be spent, but money should be told where to go, and that's just about the matter. Money cannot be the leader. It can never be. Like, if money is leading, there's a fundamental problem there, and there's like a dynamic that just should not exist. You have to tell money where it should go. Like, money needs to be directed. Like, okay, so XYZ amount of money goes here, this one goes here, this one goes there, and never the other way around. Jumping on every trend. Like, this one is like, so if you see that a particular type of outfit, like, and there's something that, if you're very, very rampant, or like if you're very conversant with Instagram and you're there a lot, you find that, like, there's certain kinds of clothes that trend per time. Like, once upon, like, all of a sudden everybody's wearing that thing. I think most recently was this, like, there's this tweed dress that everybody's wearing now that I don't, for the life of me, understand what's going on with those dresses, but all of a sudden, like, that's what everybody's wearing. So imagine if you're like, just, you're buying every single of these clothes. Now, the crazy thing about fast fashion, because I know a little bit of fashion myself, so the crazy thing about fast fashion is that when that period of time ends, those clothes become irrelevant. So, for example, once upon a time, like, we're also obsessed with, like, wearing what was like bucket hats, for example. There was one time that it was just like, I even bought one myself. We were wearing bucket hats, and it was like, oh, it was so cool, bucket hats, yeah, with the hotel kids. Now I can count about times I've seen people wear bucket hats. So imagine, like, if I'd stopped, like, bought like 7 that period of, like, yeah, like, bucket hats the in thing now. I want to be cool. Like 2-3 years down the line, nobody's wearing bucket hats anymore. And it's like, I've just spent money that, yeah. So yeah. Ignorance. Well, that's a little bit of a harsh word, but I couldn't think of anything else to put at that moment. So yeah, ignorance, just simply not knowing better, really. So there are some things that some benefits that you enjoy as a student that, if you're not aware of, you just miss out on. For example, for Spotify, for example, you get to pay cheaper because you're a student. So if you didn't know that, as opposed to spending, I think now they sent an email recently that they're increasing their price. I think now maybe the general fee would probably be like about 1,000 naira thereabouts, and the student fee is now currently like 600 naira. It doesn't seem like a lot of money, but just the fact that, at least for the period of time I'm going to be a student, before I get thrown into the world of adulting properly, I can enjoy these benefits, for this period of time. And then, like, of course, like, the last one, and I think I skipped one. Not saying no to yourself. I think it's very similar to the classification one, but yeah, no income source. Yeah, this is obvious. Like, if you do not have money coming in, you probably would not have money, in any form. I'm not saying that it must be like a job. If you do not have, like, some sort of financial assistance or something, you probably not you know have any money. Well, yeah. So we can move on to the next slide. Okay. All right. So here's what you can do. I had, like, there's a bunch of, I had like 13 of these things. They're so long. So yeah. So the first one that I would suggest is tracking your spending. I started to do this not even too long ago, like 3-4 months ago, and I can tell you for a fact that it is the best thing that I've done for myself. So what tracking your spending is, and I'll tell you how I do mine. It is getting, like, so when you spend money throughout a day, and I'll actually advise to do it right after, like, you make the purchase or you spend the money, because you can forget, and then that defeats the purpose. So you have like a Google sheet. So I have like a Google sheet. I thought I put a picture. I completely forgot to do that. But I have a Google sheet, and on the Google sheet I have different categories. So I have food, I have data, I have clothes, I have all of those categories of things that I typically spend my money on. And so for every time I make a purchase in any of those categories, I put the money on there. So what that does for me is that at the end of the week or at the end of the month, I can go through the list of everything I spent and do the total. So when I'm looking at that list, I'm saying that okay, I spent 5,000 naira on maybe snacks because I snack a lot, and I'm like, that's not a realistic amount of money to spend on snacks. Like, why are you spending 5,000 naira on snacks in 1 week? Like, what are you eating really? Because I'm eating food, why are you eating snacks? So it's like, and then in that moment, I'm thinking, okay, so what can I do to cut back on my spending in this area and all of that. But more importantly, it will help me budget because now I have an idea that okay, in the month of August, I've spent 10,000 naira on all the food that I need to eat for the month of August. So I know that when I'm planning for September, this was like a rough example. When I'm planning for the next month, I know that I need to assign 10,000 naira for food. Do you get the idea? So the gist of tracking your spending is that it gives you like all your information on like a platter, because I know it's a very common occurrence. Like when you have money today, like where did my money go? So tracking your spending helps you to know where your money goes really. So the second point is right off the bat, which is like creating a budget. So like I said earlier, being able to assign your money is always going to be so important, and not just for the ritual of assigning your money or putting it, but even more so the act of sticking to it. So I can't remember who I was telling something. I think it was my sisters I was talking to like a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling them that like at this point in Nigeria, you like what you might budget for your like what you might put in your budget might be way lower than what the seller is even willing to sell for. So for example, if I put that okay, I want to buy in Ibadan here, I live in Abuja, and we call like what they used to measure rice Congo mudu. So like when I go here, they're like Congo. I was like, what is a Congo? But like they call like one Congo of rice, like one Congo. Oh, they brought the light. So please could you help me put off this one at the back? Thank you. So like one one Congo of rice is I think about last time I bought was like 2.7. So if I made a budget and I put 2.5 on the Congo of rice, then that's like less than what they might be willing to sell for me for. But it's as simple as telling them that, oh, sorry, I do not have more than 2.5. So just sell for me what 2.5 can like that's what the realistic situation has become. And that's what like making a budget looks like, is that you have XYZ amount of money to give towards something and you're not willing to go above it. Of course, there are rare situations where you might have to tweak your budget here and there, but fundamentally it's saying that I will not allow myself go beyond this amount of money just to satisfy any other thing. And another point is that there's a very common misconception that there's something like there's like a way a budget is supposed to look like, is it has to be this way and that way. And I don't know who's selling all those lies, but a budget can literally look anyhow. If you want to, at the end of the month, like for example, my roommate and I have planned that after our exams this semester we're going to go like on a little date. So I've budgeted it. It doesn't seem like something you should budget because like it's a date now. But I said that okay, we're going to go to this place and I didn't want to buy this amount of money. So I put it aside, I put the money aside so that when that time comes, I'm not struggling looking up and down for the money. But I've already like made provision for it way in advance. Yeah. So number 3 is cut back on spending. We don't like to hear this. We do not ever like to hear that the problem is that we're spending too much. But truth of the matter is that it can be sometimes, because if for example like every day, for example, I do this thing where like I try to once a week not spend any money at all, even if it's just once a week. And I think I did it today. Yeah, I didn't spend any money today. So it's like just throughout that day, just make up your mind that you're not going to spend any money. And I know that it's not always easy, especially because I think it was easy for me to not do that because I didn't go anywhere. Trust me, I've been in my room all day today. So but also it's because I've sort of like identified the things that might cause me to spend little money here and there. For example, maybe buying snacks. But my roommates and I bought a carton of biscuits, and so we have that on lock. We just have it. So anytime we just carry one at it. So stuff like that, just like preempting the situation that might cause you to spend money and just dealing with it in advance. So it will help you to cut back. And then also a big part of it is just telling yourself no sometimes, which I think is a point I highlighted later on. But it's not every time that you must spend money. You really do not have to spend money. It's so rich coming from me, because once upon a time in my life, like I would always spend money. Like if money is in my hand, it's to be spent. So, but I had to learn, and not even the most glamorous ways that you actually do not have to spend money. Also, let me see what I wrote here. So have no spend days and be deliberate about reducing your spending, especially when the inflow of cash is not, like the proportion of cash inflow to cash outflow is not, it's not tallying. Buy things you use more than once in bulk. That's very important. And then, as opposed to buying smaller units. And I don't know if this happens with you guys, or if there are any students here, but sometimes when like lecturers send you materials in soft copy, you always want to print it out. I finished like I've written like 3 exams this week, and I had like all the bunch of like printout materials, and I was thinking to myself, okay, so what am I going to use this thing to do now? Because like with law, you do like when you've done a topic per semester, you don't do it again forever. That's the end of it. Like, so it's one semester a topic is gone, and then next semester you have like completely new topic. So I do not actively need any of the materials. Thinking that maybe I should just gonna give one woman that sells akara near my hostel there, because like at this point I've spent all that money to print all those materials, and now they're useless to me. So sometimes I actually just use the soft copy material as opposed to printing out. But if you are someone who struggles with like your phone, the productivity an issue for you, maybe then yeah, but you get the gist. Number 4 is self-denial, which I've hinted out several times throughout this call. And this is not me in any way glorifying suffering or telling you that, oh, like all the money you have, you should just hold it to your chest. No, not at all. But it is that more often than not, adopt the habit of, as opposed to thinking, oh, like I just always have to spend, just caution yourself sometimes, and as if like just hold like resist the urge sometimes, so once in a while, except when it's like something that you fundamentally do not need, yeah. Yeah, okay, I wrote something here, which is a trick that I do. So for sometimes like you might be craving something. So for example, on the days where like I'm craving shawarma, because I like shawarma so much, you guys, I can't even explain it. So then I was like, I just want shawarma so bad. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, but if I spend this money on shawarma right now, it will fundamentally affect something later on. So what do? I'll probably buy bread. Bread is not shawarma, but my roommate does this like toast thing that she does that is so good. Like, so it's like bread, eggs, and then like suya in it. So by the time I buy all those things, I have spent less than I would have spent, because shawarma is so expensive now. Please, let's not even get into how much shawarma is in this day and age. But I've been able to like cut back. I've made a compromise. So like something that is more readily accessible and more like relatively cheaper has saved me from expending so much, and I've satisfied the craving that I had in that moment. There's some days when I'm having that craving and I just shut it out. Like yesterday, I had a really, really tough exam. Like it was so exhausting. When I came out of the exam hall, I felt like I was going to faint. And I was like, ice cream will heal me right now. But did I buy it? I didn't buy it because I knew that like, okay, if I take out this money now, that will just be like impulse buying, and it will affect something else that I planned for later. So I just didn't buy it. Probably still buy it like later if I have extra money, but for now, nothing for me. Um, then number 5 is having a saving culture. I know that people, we hear a lot of things about saving. People say, you cannot save to be wealthy. Yeah, and it's probably not a lie, and that's because you're saving in a currency that, and by that currency I mean naira, that fluctuates like this. So it's like what's 10,000 naira could buy like 2-3 years ago, certainly is not what 10,000 naira can buy now. So inflation is what it is, and it can just cause like a lot of problems. But more than it is about what the money can do for you, it's about the habits that you are building, which is 1, delaying gratification, and 2, just building discipline, which would forever be more important than even the million and one things the money can do for you. But even more than that, it is just also giving you something to have as a cushion. Because I'll give you a very good example. So I've worked, I think predominantly in my entire university like time, like from 100 level to 100 level, I've been working, and while that has been great, I made a decision that I was not going to work in 400 level. Like I just wanted to focus on school, and like because it's closer to the end of graduation, I am trying to just make all the right decisions, at this time. So I was like, I'm going to not work this time. But what has been able, and like of course, like not working means that I did not have like a source of income. But thankfully, like my mother, my mother bankrolls me well enough. So it's like, but more than even that, is also like the fact that I was able to have that money that I'd put aside all those many months that I've been working to fall back on. And that's what saving does for you. It just gives you like how when people say that, yeah, your savings will save you, truly it will save you. So like times when you do not have anything at all, your savings will come through for you. But if you spend every single money that comes into your hand, you will not have anything. And I know that it is hard. Like, I'm telling you all of these things from a place of like knowledge. I see. What I was like, I made a point to mention that I'm in Nigeria. I said I know that everything I'm telling you that you can feel, I can feel as well. But you actually just have to like make those sacrifices just for the greater good. And that's just the simple truth of the matter. So it's not every single amount of money that comes into your hand that is required to be spent. And that's the gospel truth of it. So what I do that I think can also help is that I do like a percentage thing. So for example, any amount of money that comes into my hand, whether it is money I planned for, of course, like that's money that comes into my hand that is not for a purpose. Like maybe my birthday was like a couple of weeks ago, so I got money. Like people gifted me money. My mom sent me money from time to time, like for like my needs and all of that. So what I do is that 25% of that money goes into another account that just sorts my wants. So if that like 25% of that money is there, so if there's something I've been wanting, maybe I wanted like a new pair of shoe, that money is where like if the shoe cannot be bought with that money, then the shoe is not going to be bought because yeah, well, we cannot afford it yet, literally. So nothing happens. I just keep piling up that money until you can buy the shoe. Another 20% goes to my investment. So I do not do like any crazy. I do not have land, not at least not yet. I don't have any like crazy bad sheets like investments or anything. But I use apps like Bamboo app. Bamboo app has stocks, Nigeria and foreign stocks, and Nigerian treasury bills as well that you can put just money in, just like, and monitor it. And there's this community I joined. I think what I would do is like I'll ask Toby's permission, and I can send me the link to the main group, or she can send it to you guys, so that if you want to join. So what the group does is that like they suggest stocks that they think will do well over time, and you can then just like put your money on those stocks. Of course, like they always put the disclaimer that you don't take their word for it 100%. Like you can do your own research if that's something you want to do. But yeah, so I use Bamboo, I use RiseVest helps me to save money in dollars, so I do not save money in naira, just so that I am not crying later. So that if I put 10,000 naira in that RiseVest, I know that anyhow, when I'm bringing that money out, it's probably still be 10,000 naira, or maybe sometimes even a little higher, depending on the dollar naira ratio. So RiseVest, Bamboo, those are actually the two apps I have that I have to say. I used to once upon a time use CarryWise, but it just got too complicated for me, and I just like, what are people doing? Like, this is supposed to be a lot easier than this. You're confusing me, so I left them. So I use Bamboo app for my investments, and I use RiseVest to save, and that's just it. And like in terms of like my savings, what I do is like, so that 20%, right? That's, of course, 20% goes to my RiseVest, my Bamboo app for like investments, and then any other money that's left there, which is about 55%, just goes to like my current needs. Like those are things that are pressing right now that need to be addressed here and now, and I just sort those out. Yeah. And the reason why I can have like that much liberty is because like I know that, okay, for example, anything that fundamentally poses as an emergency in my life, my mother can sort out for me. Thank God for that. So I can go, mommy, I'm sick, and I know that she didn't want to go and buy drugs. So I don't particularly save for emergencies, but as I'm growing up, I'm beginning to now realize that more and more responsibilities will fall on me because age, and I'll leave this school one day. I'll not be university students forever. And people will actually have expectations of me. So I'm becoming more and more conscious of why I need to have like proper systems in place, like having an emergency fund. So an emergency fund is really just like the money you put aside for emergencies, so that you do not end up touching money that's saved or put out for other things. And so okay, so utilize the student environment. Like I said earlier, like look out for your for discounts that you have that you can enjoy as a student. Sometimes like split costs. So a couple of my friends and I go to the same church. What we do is that every Sunday morning four of us come together. We'll take one boat ride to church and one boat back, right back. And we realize that by the time four of us are sharing 4,000 naira, 2,000 naira rather, each of us has paid 1,000 naira for a trip to church and back, which would have been more expensive than the 2,000 naira or more that would have spent if we had gone with cabs individually, like just one ticket. So things like that, just like utilizing the environment that you are in, and just thinking up ways that you can cut costs. Like I said earlier about the whole buying things in bulk thing. So for example, by buying one carton of biscuits, that's because I like to snack when I'm reading, I'm just like wanting to eat something, and it's a very common occurrence. So buying a carton of biscuit means that I'm not buying anything in unit prices, because a unit price means that there's already profit on it. Like the seller that bought that carton of biscuit like 2,000 naira is selling each biscuit like maybe like, I don't know, let's say like 36 inside. Let's do small math. So a carton of biscuit, I think maybe about 3.5, and it has like 36 inside. So, oh, I didn't know how to convert this thing. I, okay, so each one ideally should be like 97 naira, but the seller is selling one for like 200. So her profit on each biscuit is crazy, and that's not her business, because you're the one who needed her. But because I've bought the biscuits in bulk, I'm not spending that individual 200 naira. I'm practically spending 97 naira for every biscuit I'm eating. Do you get gist? So buy things in bulk, I 100% recommend, especially when it's something that doesn't spoil easily. Yeah, I can understand wanting to buy like food in bulk, granted, but like things that are non-perishable, please make it a note to buy things in bulk. Okay, so next slide, please. I'll try to like speed up faster because we still have a long way to go. So this one is honing your skills. So this category, I think, is sort of like secondary to like, so it's when maybe you've come into like a little bit of money, or like you are not in as much lack, or you're trying to now make the transition from absolute zero to actually now making some money. So the first one I'll say is honing your skills. I'll give people like very three brief stories. So in 100 level, when I first came to UI, I was like, okay, so I came to school, and now another very funny story is that like just a couple of months, like 2 months before I resumed 100 level, my dad passed. So it was like, burden of the family as you mean what? So I was like, it was really a tough time for me. And so I came into university with that mindset, like, oh, I cannot just be calling my mother every time I need money. Like, she's a widow now. She does not have as much, but like, it was just like a lot of things in my head. So I was like, okay, so what can I do? So I had like very basic, when I tell you that the basic of the basics cover design skills. I mean, like, if these slides are evidence of that, like I did the slides myself, they're not the greatest. So I had like very basic Canva skills. And I realized that there's a lot of students in UI who had businesses, like almost in 1 in 10, 1 in 5 UI students have a business, or has a business rather. So I was like, okay, what can I do? I said, okay, I'll probably make more money if I reach business owners as opposed to reaching consumers directly. So I started to make stickers, like all these like thank you stickers that you put on your packaging, and like cards, and I was selling it to them. Like I was like, okay, so yeah, I make this thing, and this is what my charge is. Like if you want me to do the design for you, this is the extra money you pay. If you want me to do the design for you, well, it's cheaper, but you pay for the this and that. And I had a lot of customers. Till days, there's some who text me, Shekina, do you still do this? I'm like, yeah, no, I don't anymore. But like, like I'm willing to put you on to someone who can help you. But for that period, the sustained meal, I was in my bag. Imagine like I was rolling off, like I was getting orders like every other week, and I'll get orders like for like 30 stickers, 40 stickers, like, and I was like, okay. The consistency of the orders were great, and to be honest, Canva even has like 1,000,001 templates, so I was not even doing a lot of like heavy lifting. All I just needed was like to find someone who could print for me, and that was it. So if you have anything that you can potentially utilize to make money, don't sleep on it. Even if it is like, I don't know, if it's like, I recently saw one of my church members start an organization business. Like she will come to us and clean a food for you. If I show you my wardrobe, if people, it is like, it's like, I don't know who's a very organized human being. My wardrobe is super arranged. It's a skill. Like I have it. I've always had it. I've always just been very neat and organized. I know how to fold, but it never occurred to me to think that maybe I start arranging rules. Now, rich people, I didn't occur to me that I should start what they call it, like folding people's clothes for money, but she thought about that, and people, I see that she even texted me that, Sheks, would you like to hop on this business? I was like, girl, anything that means money, please call me, I'll be there. What's my skill for, so, but like she thought about that idea, and now she's making money, doing this thing, and it might not be the most easiest of jobs to do, but it's bringing her some money. Don't buy things you immediately think to. That should be two, not so. Sorry about that. So, like, I've kind of like made this point earlier, so let's not even get into it. But like, the fact that something comes up into your mind to buy does not justify buying it, and I'll leave it at that. Spend on your needs first. I already explained that. Be content. Ha ha ha. Okay. So I tell the stories to everybody and they laugh. When I was younger, I would normally eat with my mom a lot. Like I would just because I have a weird relationship with food. I don't like food. I don't like to eat at all. But my mom was like, she's like, you must eat, you must eat. So I would most likely eat with her all the time. And we're eating together. And they put like my meat and they put her meat in the food because they're like, okay, this Tunde's food, this is mommy's food. And mommy's meat rather, and Tunde's meat. And I'm eating, maybe I'm eating my meat because me, I'll eat my meat in the beginning of the eating itself. And then towards the end, I'm like looking at my mother's meat that I want it. And as per last born now, you think that she will give me. My mom never gave me that meat. My mom started giving me her meat from her food when I turned like when I turned like 13 or thereabouts. And like in that moment, I was thinking that this why is so harsh? It's not just meat. But like later on, I now realized like what it was about. She was just trying to like it maybe in the harshest way possible, but she was trying to just help me see that it's not your own. So you should like, why do you want it? And it builds like a habit of contentment in me, where like my eye is not constantly checking for people's things. Like I had the like I was telling my roommate the other day that like I think that one of the reasons well, I just know that like I don't obsess about material things and I'm thankful to God for that because He has saved me from a lot. Because I'm not thinking that oh I have to buy this, I have to have this, I have to have this, I have to. I enjoy a lot of privilege as the last born. For example, I wanted like a new wig because I just didn't have any. And my sister recently relocated, and you know when people are relocating, they're very excited and they're always giving out things. And she just comes like, ah, Sheks, I left that wig for you. If you see that hair, I'm not like people, it's a nice hair. And like so I didn't have to like spend the amount of money that other people would have had to spend to get that hair, but I got it eventually. So it's just like, but it required me to just hold myself back. Now, if you have the money to buy the wig and it's not going to pose any potential hindrances, go ahead. If you budgeted for it, you wanted it and to serve you, I give you the permission, I give you the blessing, you know. But in my case, it was not a realistic purchase because any good hair you want to buy right now in Nigeria, let's not even say Nigeria right now, but like once upon a time, at least like you need to spend at least 80,000 naira, which to be honest, for a 400 level law student that is not working, is that a realistic purchase? It's not. So you know, yeah. But essentially, be content. Learn to close your eyes to things that like cultivate your appetite. That's the word I'm doing. Cultivate your appetite. Like let some things not even appeal to you in the first place, and it will save you from a lot. I was telling someone today that like, and I blame like honestly, there's a false presumption that like a lot of like, I think because now a lot of Nigerian youths have come into money very early. Like so, you have like 23-year-olds who are earning millions, and so it is painting a picture of of the fact that that should be the norm, but it's not. It's not the norm. Like especially in this country, if you're at a federal university at 23, you're probably not even done with university. You know, strike and all. You know, so it's not a very realistic expectation. So do not like base your life and your achievements based off like what you think, what you see on social media. Don't do it at all. Live within your own sphere. Like be so obsessed with your own growth and your own journey that whatever is happening for other people is just is you in fact you don't see it. It will help you a great deal. Have money goals, which these are obvious. This one very obvious. Like I know that okay, at one point in my life, I do not want to be working again. Like I did not dream of labor. So like I just know that at some point in my life, I just want to be having money coming in and I'm not exerting myself as much because I want to be a mommy. Like I want to go for my children's football game and I want to like be that mother that is in the front of the rows of the child shouting, that's my child. Like and sometimes like it's not very realistic when you have responsibilities. So but like I know that okay, at one point in my life, I want to have that liberty to not work as hard but still be able to live like a good life. And so what does that look like now? It just looks like making good financial decisions now, like having money goals, like knowing that I don't have to spend essentially everything I've said prior to now, you know. Yeah. Um learn about money. You guys, that's like I'm so all how many of you were like 12? One, we're about 15 on this call. All 15 of you that are here plus me, God will bless all of us because like in African societies, talking about money is like taboo. Like I remember that when my parents would have like very difficult financial situations, I couldn't bring myself to ask them that, "Oh, mommy, like, it's something. I'm supposed to be in school. I'm at home. Is there a problem? Like, what's going on?" But like, it was so awkward a conversation to have. Like, my parents just never like wanted to bring it up or talk about it, and that's a big problem because like money should actually be spoken about. Like, you need to teach people about like money. Have you, me, do you know, I used to tease and say that first this question for whoever, like my future partner, first I say, what's your opinion about like money, and like how early should your children know about money? I saw one picture on Twitter like a while back, was one small baby that baby cannot be up to 2 months. The parents put the best time story was economics for dummies, economics for 0 to 11 months old, and that's bedtime story. I said, yeah, I love that. That's the energy, because like you need to learn and start talking about money as early as possible. The reason why a lot of us are so like money subjects fly over our heads because we didn't hear anybody talk about it growing up. When it was brought up, we shut it down. It was embarrassing. But no. If you don't learn about money, you will keep falling prey to the mistakes of money, and you do not want that. So okay, next slide. Well, I think we're almost done with this part. Yeah. So sorry. 13. Identify your triggers. Yeah, this is very obvious. Sometimes you spend money not because you want to, but because like you are sort of blackmailed into by yourself, self-mailed, if that makes any sense. Because like you just spend money right off the bat for no good cause. Like maybe you've had like a very stressful day. I found that for me, one of my spending triggers is definitely stress. If I've had like a very long and tough day, I'm thinking, what can I buy to help myself feel better? Well, that's not a very realistic, and that's not a good proportion to have. Like you should not be thinking spend money. Do you know how many times I chose a profession that's risks of stress? So imagine if I'm spending money of every single time that I'm feeling stressed, I will have no money. That's just the truth about myself. Because today I might be stressed and I'll be buying shawarma. Tomorrow I'll be stressed and I'll be buying Birkin. Do you know how much Birkin is? So like if I buy Birkin every other day, will I have any money in my account? Certainly not. So yeah. And so the last point is creating systems. Creating systems that will help you make better financial goals and financial decisions rather. It could be like automating your savings. I do not do that because my I do not have a consistent source of income, or so it's difficult to do that. But I actually now have a system where like if I do not have money, if I do not have like all my money together, I will not spend it. So a very good example is that if I know that my mom is supposed to send me an allowance, I have my mom sends me an allowance, my sisters send me allowances. So I do this thing where like until they all send me allowance, I won't spend the money. And that's just it. And so like I'll probably spend money that I had before any of them sent me the money, or I will just be looking at the money first until like it's complete, and I'm like, if it's any money, I can do what I need to do. But until I like put the money where it needs to be, like put it in my savings, I put in my investments, I do not go ahead to spend. So it's just a habit that I built. It was harder at first, but because I've done it so many other times afterwards, it's kind of like has stuck as just a habit I have. So yeah. Okay, we're moving on to the next slide. This one is just a checklist of questions that you can ask yourself before you spend money. Just make sure that you're not spending money just because. Have I thought about this for at least a week? Does it say solve a problem that I genuinely have? Do I already have something similar? Where would it be in 5 years? Is buying this worth giving up my financial progress? Will I be unproductive? That should have been okay. So will I be productive and happy without it? Does buying it support my priorities? I want to talk about this in a little bit because spending is always like a reflection of your priorities and truth about the matter. So if you find that you are spending a lot of money on a particular thing, you've exalted that thing. So sometimes if you're spending money too much on certain things, you kind of just have to like check your priorities, like what's really important to you, and fix that, and then you find out that you're solving a lump of the problem. Well, I was not done with that. Sorry, I think there was a couple of other points before. Sorry, person changing my slides. Thank you very much. Oh no, the one before. Okay, thank you. Is this the best way? Sorry, guys, you have to see my giant forehead. It's just really tiny text. Is this the best way for me to obtain it? Like sometimes like you can actually just be gifted some things. Like I wanted a new school bag, and I just wanted and I didn't want my money, so I kind of like blackmailed my friend in the UK to buy it for me. Yeah, sometimes you do that just so that you don't spend your own money. Yeah, it's okay. Because I want to buy that money, buy that bag when I spent a shitload of money, but she's paying for it in pounds, and the purchase was in pounds. So she did me a favor because I think it was about £10, which to her would have been like just small money because it's £10. But to me, that like almost 30 something thousand naira. That's crazy money to spend on one tiny bag. Nope. What is my current mental state, which is like talking about like the trigger thing I said earlier, and then what's the real reason for this purchase? Yeah, also the trigger thing. So really just identifying why you're buying something. It's so important, you guys, because you're like, oh, I want to buy this thing. Why? Is it because you think that to make you look cooler, or to make you look, or you're fueling an image of yourself that might not even be there yet? I was watching one video a while ago, and this woman shared something so stellar, and she was like, you know that we say all the time that like, oh, you're making decisions for your future self, and that's not a bad thing, or like you're buying clothes for your future self, you're doing that, but are you doing the work to achieve that future self? Because they have to go in tandem. Like, so if you are buying and making all these purchases for this future self, this elusive future self, you have to be doing the work that will produce this future self. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So let's go. Oh, okay, I was so behind time. I talked too much for my own good. So the next slide, yeah. So this is side hustles for students. I just thought, like, let me just throw this in. So in case there's anybody here who's just like, you know what, let me try. So the first one is identifying a need around you and start a small business. Every society has oh, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Every society has like, or every community, however big, however small, has needs in any way they look like. And if you look closely enough, you'll find it. For me, for example, like I found out that like a lot of those businesses in Ibadan here didn't have like on UI, for example, didn't have like proper branding. Like none of them were actually putting stickers on there. None of them were sending all those thank you cards. You know, those thank you cards are, I have a habit of like not being able to throw them away. So if I buy any order and like you put a thank you card, I have them all saved. Like all of them are here. Just put it in my drawers. So it's just like cute, like, oh, it's just like it gives a personal touch to the business, and it's an opportunity to also like publicize your business because like all your information is there. So I thought, that's actually a good idea. Oh. So I decided to do that business, and he saved me for that time. So if you look around you, if you're in a student environment, maybe like the place where they sell like biscuits. I know I've spoken about snacks so much, you guys. Please forgive me, but maybe the place where they sell like snacks is not particularly close. You can actually start selling it in your hostel. You can always make your own like posher. Maybe you can tell them that, oh, for every order you get free tom. I don't know. Say something. For every order you get like a cute packaging, something. But like that way you've provided a solution. And the people who are rich in this world are people who provide solutions. I'm starting a business like in which for example in a couple of days, I think I would say. But just because like I identified the problem that was lacking in like my area. And so I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's like, okay, we're doing this, and great. And we have the advantage of God, of course, like who, can give us all these insights. So tap into it. Do not neglect has been in your hand. Like God told Moses, like, what is that in your hand? Say the staff. He said, oh yeah, raise it up. The sea parted. So like the things that are in your hand, do not neglect them because they can be your saving graces sometimes. So learn a skill that can be monetized and pitch yourself. You will be shocked the amount of money people are making off doing the littlest. And I would say I saw one video recently and I was just like, what the heck? It was this girl who she's in the UK, I think the US, and she mastered Notion, like the Notion app for productivity, that Notion app, she like learned it in and out, and she started to teach businesses how to use Notion, and they're paying her shitload of money. And I was like, okay, that's silly, but that's not my call to make, because she's making her big money there and I'm not making the big money. So it's like, if you have a skill that you can learn, is whatever it can be, learn it. If it's copywriting, if it's people are always looking for writers, whatever it is that you can commit to learning it. I've made up my mind that like post my exams. I've already paid like for a social, because I work as a social media manager, and I was like, I'm due for an upgrade. So I paid. Sorry, I didn't see your comment, Elizabeth. Let me just see what you said. You see that, like, you can actually, like, I don't you can do that, like, honestly, because people are so crazy about this Notion thing. I don't get it looks a lot complicated for me. So I'm a very typical notebook and journal girl. But yeah, but that's something you can definitely do. What was I even saying? I've lost my train of thoughts. I've forgotten, but like essentially, you should pitch yourself. Like if you know a particular, oh yeah, I've seen that I'm due for an upgrade. So I paid for like an upgrade class recently, and I'm so excited for it because I know that like the lessons I will learn from this one will help me charge more when I get new job. Like, oh, like yeah, the old price has changed because now we're smarter, you know, so we have more knowledge now. So like, yeah, you cannot add the old price gone really, but yeah. So learn a skill, hone like really, really, really learn it, and then make money off it. Oh, please. Offer services like making hair, research and assignments, organization and decluttering. So I was not thank you. So yeah, offering services, any form of services can help you make money. There's some people who do one time, I think in 100 level, I placed one assignment for me because I procrastinated on that assignment so much and it was so close to exam. I was like, please just answer. Like that person just made like 8K off me, which honestly, that was money that I could have just kept and used for something else. But I paid somebody to do it because, yeah, it was my fault and my mistake on that in that moment. So yeah, my loss. But yeah, online and remote work. I don't like to really suggest online and remote work because they're not always as easy to get as people like to make them seem. Like it can be a little bit of a hassle. But if you're able to find any, they know that like I know people use Fiverr and people use Fiverr and people use what's the other one, Upwork, to try and get like remote work. You can actually give it a shot. You can look out for be on LinkedIn. You see a lot of like hiring people, and there's there are a lot of all these like job sites like Jobberman, and this is the one I saw recently. I forgot him, but like they actually like make their listings there. You can actually just give it a shot. Honestly, there's no harm in trying. If it looks a little sus, just hands off and just leave. But you just give it a shot and don't cheat yourself. From without giving yourself a chance. Consultancies similar to what I like said earlier, and I'll tie it to the sixth point. So, for example, if you're someone who's like really good at school, who's like first class student, and you've never been on anything less than a first class, you can host tutorials and charge people to it can be like 1,000 naira or 500 naira, or you can do like if that's too much commitment, you can do like a workbook. Like I said, Canva is your best friend. To do like a workbook on Canva is literally like so easy. Just say, oh, 10 tips from a first class student on how to never drop of it, something like that. Do it and make it well. I'm not saying that you do haphazard work. Do it well. Do the presentation. Think about it deeply. How have I maintained this first class? Write out all the points. Write out tips. Then attach like if you can say that okay, free consultancy session for the first 10 people who are purchasing this thing, and put a price, maybe 1.5. If 10 people buy, you've made 15K. That's just easiest 15K you could have probably made. But that's because you've gone from like a knowledge that you've had and you shared it and you've made money. Yeah, simple. That's it. Okay, we can move on. Okay, yeah. So in conclusion, remember that you are the sum total of the choices you make. The decisions you make in this stage of your life are just as important as the ones you make later on. Yeah. Motivation is good, but discipline is better. And everybody has agency. So agency is really just like, well, your ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and without leaving things to fate and saying that, you know what, if it happens for me, agency is like taking charge of your life. And one like leadership course I did like a while back, the first session we had, it was talking about like if are you a driver or any passenger in your life, and that thing just reworked my mind. So it's like, if my life is a bus, on which seat am I on? Am I the one driving? Am I just like going with the flow? If I'm in the car with someone that's driving recklessly, I'm technically just at risk, because like anything that person does affects me fundamentally. But if I'm the one driving, I know that I can evade potholes, I can do that. So like you have to take the charge over your life and just do right by yourself, really. And then what you feel to learn from history and address it, you definitely repeat. Like I said earlier, like so you, all this knowledge that you've acquired, and I hope you have in today's call, is like later on, like they're meant to go on to help you make better decisions. So that the next time you want to, you're thinking about money in a different light. Because if you do not learn from the mistakes, you keep repeating them, and that's the rule of life. And the last one is the principle of Gigo, which is garbage in, garbage out. So if you cannot keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, so if you keep doing the exact same thing, you will not see results. Right. So I think the next session is supposed to be like the productivity side of things. But I do not know that we have all that time. I didn't want to keep you guys waiting. So do I have permission to continue, or would you just send the slides to them because they're pretty like easy to read?
So I think you can just touch on two, three things on it if you can quickly.
Okay. Oh yeah, okay. So
Thank
I think
you.
the main gist of like that portion of what I was saying is like highlighting priorities and not and like and letting your priorities be the viewpoint through which you address every other thing. So for example, if I have this is the whole I have, and this whole is my priorities. So whatever I am doing, I'm using these priorities to be the check. So it's like, okay, my priorities are my academics right now as a student, academics, my relationship with God. Those are the two top things. I like career development. Those are the three top of my priorities. So every other action goes through those priorities. Like, so if I fit something through it and that thing comes out on the other end, and like it's like, or maybe it doesn't fit into it, rather, aha, I know that, okay, well, you are not welcome. But if it goes through, for example, then I know that, okay, well, yeah. So for example, now I mean, um I just recently joined a unit, like a service unit in my church, and that's because like I have more time on my hands, being that I'm doing less and less courses than I've been doing in my previous like years in uni. So I have more time. So I joined service unit in church, which permitted, like, it's good because now I'm able to balance serving in church and also still doing well in school. And I'm in only one other like non-academic committee, like, and that's alternative dispute resolution, because that's an area of law I'm also interested in. So I joined that committee and I'm the general secretary there. And that's all my commitments in terms, because I know that school is so important to me. And I have the desire to graduate from my university with a first class. I know that if I'm jam packing all these things, it will potentially harm that goal that I have to graduate to first class. Because balance is sort of elusive. Like, we like to think that we can balance things out, but if you've had like maybe a whole day, you woke up in that morning, from the morning you led prayers for maybe let's assume that you hold a position at YSB. You led prayers from like 5 to 6. After that, you went from classes from like 8 to 4. When you came back, you had like one meeting for Association of Yoruba Students or something. This year I have seen many associations. Association of Ogun State Students, and you're the president there, so you went there. After that one, you came back, you said that, oh, if you have hostel meeting for choir members, by the time you come back to your room, do you think you have any power? You will sleep, because you cannot cheat your body. You will sleep. So, and by the time you have slept, you've not read that day. You probably will not read the next day because you're like, and that ripple effects of just so many bad decisions. So priorities, identify your priorities, and using that to be the check through which you address and you pick every other thing that concerns your life. So yeah. And I think on that note, I have come to the end of my yapping, and I hope that like you learned one or two things. I think the slides I hope that it will be sent to you guys so that you can actually just have them go by it several times. Thank you guys. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Your reactions gave me life. And yeah, so I think, all right, thank you so much. Yeah, so like I think this is the point where anyone can ask questions. Oh, you're welcome, Damilola. I'm really thankful for this opportunity. I didn't do that. My bad. Thank you so much, Mrs. O, for this opportunity and for trusting me so much to speak to these wonderful people. And I just hope that this session has been impactful for you. Like, doing this has just now put a standard on me even more to just make sure that like I do the things that for the most part I do them, but like just a greater standard. So now, because I'm like thinking, girl, you have spoken to some people about this thing and you're not doing it. Is that not hypocritical? So I'm also he has served me as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Shekina. Thank you
You're
so much for
welcome.
this show. It was very enlightening. I know that you dragged some of us by wigs Some of us, the
My
tables
account.
that we're managing to stand on, the tables shattered, but well, in all, it's for our own good.
Definitely.
All right, people, we'll take questions now. If you have any questions and you want to speak, please raise your hand. If you cannot, please, I'll be in the chat so we can quickly take questions. Um, questions. I'll be just saying. Okay. All right. Does anyone have questions? Anybody has questions? It could be on specifics that she spoke on, or it could be maybe more personal. Maybe you want a more personalized answer.
Mm,
Yes, question. Okay, I can't see any hands up. Just want to be
yeah.
sure that it's on my end.
No. Oh, someone's hands up. Oh,
Uh
okay.
okay, Lawani Precious. Okay. Let's take Lydia first. Lydia, your hand is raised. Please, you can unmute and speak.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah. Hi.
The
Good
question
evening.
I,
Let
yeah,
me get your first name.
my what?
Your first name.
Oh, my first name is Lydia.
Okay. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So, the question I have is, on the Bamboo app, how do you
Mhm.
save? Do you go into like the trade, the stocks, first, or you just like save on the app like that?
Oh, okay. So, like Bamboo, well, like, because typically with all these like finance apps, you have like a wallet which is created for you upon creating an account, because that's the wallet you send money to. But everything is within the app, so you actually just like put money there. But I don't think it will do much for you because there's no interest on just putting the money in the wallet. With Rise I think there's an interest of putting the money in the wallet. I've not noticed. I think there's an interest, like small interest of putting the money just in the wallet. But with Bamboo, I use the app for investing. So when I send money into that app, it is strictly for the purpose of actually putting into a stock. Right now, I think I have like some stock in like totals. And like I said earlier, there's a there's a group I'm part of that shares different stocks that they think that would do well, and so you can put your money there. Because I do not have the financial knowledge to that extent to know okay what to look out for. So I trust the expert knowledge of this person, and of course like his track record as well. That over time his predictions have made sense and they've amounted much. So I just trust him, and I put the money there, and yeah. So yeah, I just it's strictly just for the stocks and for the treasury bills, which are just investments options. But if you're looking for a platform to just save, PiggyVest, yeah, PiggyVest gives you an interest on putting money in their app and not touching the money. Like so, if you have the money the entire duration of the year, I think you have like I've forgotten like 7% interest if I remember correctly. But you have like some money on it. But I'm not very sure. You can do a little bit of more research. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
All right.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. So we have questions in the chat. I will just read them out.
Okay.
So Precious is asking, why do people have the mindset that when you don't give or spend money for others, they feel you are greedy? When, why do people have the mindset that when you don't give or
Mm-hmm.
spend for yourself or on others, they feel that you are greedy?
Well, politely, that's their business. So, because they're not you, and they're not the ones that know the way your money is coming from, or you know, if at all it is. So, I don't think that they will have their opinions. Very, very well said. Like, but it is not your um responsibility to debunk those opinions that they have about you. It's not like it's really not your responsibility. What that matters is that within yourself, that you know that you're making the right decisions for yourself. But at the same time, I think prioritize generosity. Is a good quality to have. So once in a while, you can actually just like, do kind acts. Honestly, it's nice. It's really nice. But if it's that, maybe because people are saying that, Shekina, this girl, spend on yourself now. You're suffering. No, it's not necessary. Like, it's not important. Like, if you have all that you need and you are not in lack of anything, you're not deliberately depriving yourself of some things just because you want to paint yourself in one prudent way. Do what you want to do what is right by you. Any other person's opinion is inconsequential in the long run. So yeah, I just think.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. We have one more question here from Damilola. So she says, concerning identifying a need to start a small business, how can you balance the business with your academics, especially with a very demanding course that barely leaves you with time for your.
Hmm. Girl. So yeah, that's a very real thing because I can relate. I'm studying law. Before I entered law, the first thing that people came to tell me is that law is a jealous lover. That's what they say. Law is a jealous lover. He cannot, you won't do other things. But there's nothing like I said earlier, priorities first and foremost. So, for example, me who's starting a business, the business I'm starting is, I'll just give you guys little tea. So it's like a hair. I'm not. I won't say that I'm the biggest like hair care person. Like I'm not obsessed with like taking care of my hair or anything. As a matter of fact, I don't. But I realized that in my school area, like in Ibadan, in the long run, I just could not find anybody who was selling like original silk bonnets, like those very nice silky, soft ones. And I was like, this is so weird because like Ibadan is like a big city. Why is there nobody selling this? I was like, yeah, no, actually, this is a good idea to start. And I did a little bit of a twist with my own. I will not tell you guys because it's my own secrets. I won't tell you. But I'm not going to be making the products. I'm not going to be selling them. And that thing that I'm doing is that I am going to make these are the options that are available. So buy this one. There's no such thing as custom order because like doing a custom or telling people that they can decide what they want will mean that I'll have to go to the market to look for different types of fabrics. I'll have to and that can take me only God knows like how long because I've been in Ibadan like 5 years now. I don't know it that well. So it's like, what am I saying 5 years? 4 years. So taking up certain responsibilities, like maybe telling people that they can have different custom orders, will just mean that I will suffer. And I'm not going to put myself in that position. So so from just starting the business already, I'm setting up the structures that will help me to not take on more than I can handle. Like putting out, okay, there's XYZ number of this particular design available, and there's like 3 other designs. Pick from this one. If you don't like it, bye bye. I can't do anything for it. And if you the only condition for me going out of my way to do a custom order for is if it's like a bulk purchase, which is like from like 15 upward, So at least that one I know that I'm getting like money's worth for that. If you have like maybe if you have like a course that is very demanding, I think another option, of course, the person that is making the bonnet is not studying law. Of course. So it's like I think it's not to her course, so that it's not like I'm looking down on her course or anything, but she's studying a course that can allow her accommodate this responsibility more than so she's able to deliver on it. And like of course, even with I'm not promising anybody immediate delivery. So like your delivery will come to you in like 3 to 5 days, which is enough time for her to make it, for me to get it to me, to pack it up, to put the order in order, and then to deliver. So everything is within my time. So if you're running I know people who sell things in my hostel here who you can actually just put the money like what did I get in terms of put the money? I think she said to me to slide under her door or something like that. So it's like you have like the thing you're selling, and then you can just put a place where people can put the money. I know it's risky anyway, but like but just creating systems that will allow you like do it well without causing any problem to any other thing. Really, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Okay. Or dealing with a business that might not require you to do too much work yourself. Yeah. So if you're a student that has like a lot of like school responsibilities, you cannot do a cleaning business. You can also not really do like a research business. Your best bet is really just like selling stuff, probably things that you don't have to make, maybe like selling thrift. I had a thrift business too, just to put that out there. You guys have done so many businesses where, like, yes, you can actually just do that. So things that you do not have to make yourself. Yeah, yeah, to help you. Yeah. Okay, someone said that they have a question. I think Esther.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. All right. So Esther's question: I have a very small allowance and it's barely enough.
Mm,
I even have I even have strict rules for spending, and it still doesn't help. What can I do?
wow.
Plus, there's a lot of miscellaneous spending that shows up outside the budget.
Mm. So real. Like I should have maybe made this point earlier where I was saying that, like, with a budget, like I think I did say that, like, sometimes you might have to like tweak it here and there and to just like sort of like depart from it a little bit sometimes because life happens. But I think in your situation now, that, and from what I've heard, like, you seem to have like the habits down on lock. So I think maybe what you can prioritize is like income generation, like trying to earn more. So you might want to explore those options, like look at all the things I've shared earlier about, like maybe starting a business or rendering a service, something you can make hair. I don't know. I don't like making hair. I can make hair, but I have to love you to make your hair. So it's like all these kinds of things. You can just like put all of these things into perspective. Like put all of it. Is there a skill that you can learn now that maybe in the next couple of months, like you can start making money off of it? If there is, go for it. Is there a way that you can position yourself that in a couple of weeks, if you start to tell people to buy a particular product about this thing, they'll not look at you like, what are you doing? You know, start the work now. So you might not just try to like channel your mind towards trying to earn more, because truly true about the matter is that more often than not, that would always be a solution to your problem. More often than not, especially if you've already sort of worked your way around learning the skills that you need to have about money, you actually have to find a way to earn more. Yeah, that's why I'm taking that upgrade of a course, because if you leave me, because I paid so much for it, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to upgrade my skills so that I can get better jobs, get better roles, and that's just it. So yeah, Esther, yeah, my dear, I'm sorry, but like sometimes the reality of life is just tough. Or maybe another thing that you can do, like at least prior to when you get the income, maybe you can try to find ways to like split costs with people. If you have like a roommate, people don't like this idea a lot, but I cook with my roommate and it's nice. So you can actually just like cook with your roommate. Like if she has like her mom sends her like 20K allowance, her mom sends you 20K allowance. If she brings 10K, you brought 10K, you still have 10K to keep as opposed to spending the entire 20K on the food. At least you have some money left. But you have pulled your money together now to now buy your food, you know. So yeah, you can try that. Try cost splitting options and help. But yeah. Alrighty, I just hope that that has helped a little bit, even.
All right. Esther. Okay. Thank you very much, Shekina.
Oh,
Um, the
mm,
session was actually very enlightening, and I love the part where you spoke about having structures that would actually help. Because I remember then when I started my brand, I started out with bonnets, and
mm,
then though I could sew at that time,
mm-hmm,
but I did not have a machine. So basically, what I just did was I'll go to the market, get the materials, cut, and then look for all these advocates that
mm,
usually work with machines. And then I just pay at that time. I think I used to pay him like 500 or about 1,000 naira to
mm,
sew up 20 bonnets for me. So
mm.
my materials and give to him, and then I have certain bonnets to sell. So having
There you go.
structures in place would definitely
Okay,
always help. All right,
okay.
thank you so much, Ms. Shekina, once again
I
for
was very
today's
happy to
session.
do this. Yeah.
Um, to our YMA participant, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. Please let's appreciate our speaker in the comments. Say thank you. You know
Thank
the
you.
emojis, the stickers. Please
Aw.
let it roll in. Let everything roll in.
Whoa. I feel so
Thank
honored. Thank you,
thank you
guys.
so much.
Yeah.
Much, ma. All right, so with this, to form the end of today's session, we'll just take our closing prayer. Our Father, we thank you for today's session. We thank you because we know that everything that we've learned today, you will help us to put into practice
Amen.
in areas where we need clarification, where we need discernment. Please grant unto us. And in areas where we're trusting you for more income, please open our eyes to
Amen.
opportunities. Give us the strength, even when these opportunities come, the character, so that we don't lose out on all that you've planned for us. For in Jesus' name we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.